Hello, I am so excited to do the tutorial / sew along to the T-wrap jacket pattern. So the jacket was something I created in 2023, maybe like October, November time. And I kind of wanted to create a jacket that was really versatile, but most importantly can accommodate to a standard size tea towel. Because if you don't know me, my name is Scarlett and I am obsessed with tea towelifying garments. And I think this jacket is really special because it can be, depending on what materials you use, it can be a spring jacket or it can be layered to make a really nice warm winter jacket. And as with all of my patterns, I want to encourage people to upcycle. So grab your curtains, grab your, bedding, and let's make snazzy clothes from them. So for this tutorial, of course, we will be going through the pattern, but also the construction of the jacket. There are a few things that are not in the written instructions. For example, I'm going to show you how to add some inside ties in the jacket. Also, if you want to add a little patch pocket and some other little techniques which are not in the instructions. For materials, of course, you don't need to use a tea towel. You can use a fabric panel. You can literally just make it all in one material. But like I said, I am a keen upcycler, so maybe challenge yourself to use some different fabrics. This is a oversized jacket. It is asymmetrical, so the left side is slightly longer to accommodate a tea towel, and then the right side is a little shorter. There are some shorten and lengthen lines on the pattern, so if you want to make a little mock-up before you actually make it in your actual fabrics, then I would recommend doing that before you go ahead and cut into your nice fabric. So let's go ahead and look at the pattern and what pieces you need. When printing this pattern, make sure scaling is turned off and it is printed at 100%. Print the first page to make sure that the test square is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. If you find that the scaling is off and it is not printing right, then I recommend that you open the file in your browser. For some reason, it seems to work when you print from a browser rather than opening it in Adobe. There is a layout plan in the instructions to help you construct the pages together. In order to cut down on paper waste, some pattern pieces have been divided up, which will require you to stick them together. So starting with the center back piece, which is pattern piece number 1. There is a back hem piece which will need to be stuck onto the pattern piece before cutting out of fabric. Pattern piece number 2/3 is the top front bodice piece. Rather than the left being your body left, the jacket has been labelled as left and right as shown here. So you will need to attach the top piece to the bottom right piece first. Then to make the left hand side of the jacket, you will need to take the top piece, flip it over and connect it to the bottom left pattern piece like this. Here's how your pattern pieces in main fabric should look like. You will need to cut 2 sleeves in your main fabric. You will need a collar long piece and you will need 4 ties as well. Make sure your lining is cut on the wrong side of the fabric. In order to make the ties for the inside of your jacket, you're gonna want to make one more tie in like your lining fabric or any fabric as long as it's quite lightweight. And once you've done that, you're gonna actually cut it in half along the longer length, okay? So we're gonna do that. And if you want to do a patch pocket, which I'm going to do, then cut out a bit of fabric that measures 21 centimeters long and 18 centimeters wide. Now we have all of your pattern pieces, let's get making. To make the patch pocket, fold one of the shorter edges to the wrong side of the fabric by 1 centimeter, then by 2 centimeters, and then press and stitch. Then fold and press the 3 remaining sides and it should look a little like this. Grab your front right pattern piece and then clip the corners of your patch pocket and then place it in the middle of the pattern. Stitch closely to the edge of the patch pocket, making sure to leave the top because then it wouldn't be a functioning pocket. With right sides together, sew the shoulder seams of the front left and front right to the center back piece. Press all seams open. Lay the front and back piece flat, right sides up as shown here, and then pin the curved sleeve head to the armhole, matching the sleeve middle notch to the shoulder seam first. Make sure the back notch does go on your back pattern piece. Repeat for both sleeves and press all seams. To make the ties, place one on top of the other right sides together. Sew around one of the shorter edges and then the two longer edges like this. Repeat for both ties and then turn these right sides out and press. If you want a more finished look, then I recommend top stitching around the edge about 3 to 5 millimeters in from the edge. Using the notches on the front left and right pattern pieces, align the raw edges of the ties to the edge of the pattern pieces and machine tack them in place. With right sides together, pin and sew the side seam of the jacket. Pin at the underarm first and make sure not to catch any parts of the tie in the seam. With right sides together, fold the collar lengthwise and stitch a 1 cm seam allowance along the two shorter ends. Turn the corners right sides out and press flat. If you want, you can machine tack or overlock the raw edges of this collar. That way it just makes it a little easier to work with. Take one end of the collar and begin pinning the raw edge side to the neckline of the jacket, starting approximately 4 cm from the front left point. Machine tack the collar in place with a long loose stitch. Grab your lining and sew the shoulder seams and the sleeves like you did with your main fabric. Create two inside ties by folding the strips right sides together and sew along the shorter edge and one of the longer edges. Turn these right sides out and press. Machine tack one at the point of the left pattern piece and one along the side seam of the right pattern piece about 9 cm from the armhole. Then with right sides together for the lining, pin and sew the side seam of the jacket. Before moving on to the next step, you will need to trim off the bottom of the sleeve lining by 2 cm and you will need to trim off the front and back lining hem by 4 cm. This will make sense later in the video. Turn the front and back hem of the main fabric of the jacket to the wrong side by 1 cm and press. Lay the jacket open, right sides facing up like shown here, then place the lining on top, right sides together and begin pinning around the edge, leaving only the hem open. The collar will need to be sandwiched in between as shown. Before sewing the lining to the main fabric, mark 3 cm from the bottom of the front left and front right with a fabric marker or pin on the wrong side. You are measuring from the lining hem, as shown here. Sew around the pinned edge of the jacket, starting and finishing at the marks you've just made. Now, you'll need to turn the hem of the lining at the stitch point. With the 1 cm hem you have already pressed on the main fabric, fold the hem to the right side by 2 cm and press. Stitch the corner of the hem only, making sure not to catch the lining. Please use this video to help with this, and you'll need to repeat this for both fronts. Turn the jacket right sides out and press along the front and collar. A little handy tip, slightly pull the collar away from the jacket when pressing for a crisp look. I would press on the main fabric and also the lining. For a finished look, stitch 3 mm away from the neckline onto the front, starting and ending at the points on the front. Make sure you use matching thread for this. Turn the 2 front corners at the hem before moving on to the next step. Clip these to get a nice crisp point. As you can see, a hem is starting to form, so follow and press the 2 cm fold for the hem whilst neatly tucking in the lining. Stitch as close and as evenly to the fabric folded edge as possible to hem your jacket. Then, to finish the sleeves, turn the sleeve so the lining is right sides facing like shown here. Pull the lining up the sleeve so you can press the main fabric with ease. Turn the sleeve hem main fabric to the wrong side by 1 cm and press. Then fold the fabric again by 2 cm whilst tucking in the lining into the hem, then stitch as close and as evenly to the fabric folded edge as possible for a nice neat finish. Finally, turn your jacket so it's the correct way out and give it a final press, and look at that, you've made the coolest jacket ever. thank you so much for watching this tutorial sew along. If you would like to grab your own T-wrap jacket pattern, then they are on my website, and it can be made in sizes small to 5XL. And yeah, I would love to see your make, so please tag me. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!